Welcome everybody to the bar. It's your boy Dawain in the building, right back in here another Tuesday. Super excited as always, be coming through your speakers, through your earbuds, where you listen to the bar. We're grateful that you're listening. And like I do every week, I want to thank the listeners, man. I know it's been a while since you had a brand new episode of the bar. Thank you guys for checking out the archived episodes. Big shout out to our man Nick for digging in the crates and bringing out some classics, man. We're going to do that from time to time because just life happens, man. And so I want to make sure I could continue to give you good content during that time. And also have to shout out Jessica Claire. She's actually been doing video. So this episode is actually going to be video, and she's actually redoing some of my old episodes, man. So the running joke is Nick said that I said that the bar might be over, but God said something different. So he sent some people in to help me with this, and we're super excited. And like I do every week, I bring in awesome guests. This guest is near and dear to my heart. Welcomed me into his house and took me to get burgers that were filled with macaroni and cheese back when I was 60 pounds heavier. We have on none other than my brother, Jon, man. How you doing, Pastor Jon?
I'm doing great, Dawain. It is it's such a blessing to be here with you.
Yes, sir, man. We it took us a while to make it happen, but God's providence, man, we're doing it right on time, man. So for those that don't know who you are, man, I want to give you an opportunity to just introduce yourself, tell them who you are and anything you want to share, personal, professional.
Yeah, most important, husband to Katie and father to my 4 kids. And other than that, I get to be the lead pastor of Redeemer Bible Church in Gilbert, Arizona, and brand new author of a new book called Stand: Christianity versus Social Justice. So excited to get to be a part of the Redeeming Truth podcast. And I get to be president of the Redeemer Center for Church Leadership. So there's a ton going on here. I'm surprised I can keep. I'm awake right now.
Hey, I get that, man, 100%. And you were 100 miles an hour when I saw you when I was in Phoenix a couple of years ago, man. It's always something, man, and super grateful to God, man, that you continue to let him use you. And so we're here to talk about the book, man. Super excited about the book. And I'm gonna give you the floor, man, to just kind of give us the overall synopsis of the book, man, and we'll dig into a little bit as we go.
Yeah, the book makes the point, using the book of Galatians, that the social justice movement is not an in-house debate like eschatology or spiritual gifts, it is a heresy. It is an anti-gospel. It is an attack on the truth. It is a completely different worldview. And therefore, it is something like Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnessism, and the rest that Christians have to stand against wherever they find it.
Wow, that I mean, where we stand here at the bar, man. We definitely totally agree with you on that. And I know that, it has become a dividing topic. I even remember, I always tell people when the MLK 50 conference happened, the line was kind of drawn then, like we saw it coming. But now, it is super divisive in that manner. So when you talk about it being heretical on that level, what are some of the things you bring out about it that kind of gives it that definition?
Yeah, it's about chapter 5 of the book. I summarized the first section by showing that it's a completely different worldview. It has a completely different view of everything, from God to human beings, to sin and salvation, to the church, to sanctification, conversion. It's all completely different. It's a mirror of the Christian worldview, but it's a satanic copycat. And so it has an eschatology, it has an ecclesiology, it has all of the packaging of Christianity, but it is a completely different attack on the Christian worldview. So it is something where Christians are trying to integrate it, and pastors are afraid to talk about it because they don't want to make people feel bad. They don't want to come across as a racist or a misogynist or a homophobe. But at the end of the day, they don't respond that way to Mormons. They don't respond that way. And so that's why I'm trying to make the point to help people see it for what it really is. It is an attack on the gospel.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's an excellent point, man. nobody is fearful, like you said, when it comes to Mormonism and things like that. But you definitely, people definitely sidestep the fear of being called racist or anything like that, man. So that's bold, man. So what? Give me some background, man. What led up to this? What was the thing that kind of inspired you to put pen to pad on this topic?
So I have a background in postmodern philosophy. I have a degree in it, and so I could see a lot of the critical theory and some of the authors that kind of fed into critical theory. I could see it starting in 2015. I describe in the book hearing some of the Black Lives Matter stuff being fused with InterVarsity and some other large Christian organizations. But I just thought at the time, we have a class of watchmen in Christianity, guys that have been paid massive sums of money and given incredible platforms. And all of that happened through fighting against things like the prosperity movement. I
Mm-hmm.
refuse to put gospel at the end of that. Um, so the prosperity movement, homosexual agenda, atheism, postmodernism, they attacked all of these things, wrote books, got platforms. And it was one of those things where I thought, well, I'm a nobody pastor in the middle of nowhere, Arizona. So these guys, our watchmen are going to take care of this. So like they've taken care of everything, the emergent church, new perspective on Paul, they rise up, unite, attack, and then it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so they'll take care of that. And so that was 2014, 2015. And then I just kept waiting and
Mm-hmm.
waiting and nothing. And then MLK 50, I think, was 2018. It was like, wait a minute, who's speaking there? Wait a
Mm-hmm.
minute, what did they say? Like some of our watchmen they're at that conference. Wait, what's going on here? And so even then I'm thinking, look, they've got to attack this now. It's starting to break churches apart. It's starting to fracture denominations. Schools, seminaries are
Mm-hmm.
starting to erupt with conflict. They've got to address it now, and nothing. And then 2020 hit, and nothing. And then some of our largest cities started burning down, and then there was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there going, they've got to do it now. They've got to
Right.
talk now. Our
Right.
cities are burning down. Nothing, crickets. And then finally in the fall of 20, I said, I can't wait for them anymore. I have a background in these things. Number one. Number two, I have a flock that I have to protect. And so I've got to fight. I've got to get in the game. So I'm gonna do a sermon series against this. So I did 3 sermons, 4 Q&As on a Sunday morning, 6 podcasts, all that fed into this to try to bring some kind of clarity for the people of Redeemer Bible Church, to
Right.
help them think through this in a biblical way, trusting that the Bible is sufficient to answer these questions. And so I went to the book of Galatians and said, if this is a false gospel, which it is, then Galatians is going to help us understand how to deal with it. And so used the book of Galatians to critique the movement, and found it to be incredibly helpful, incredibly insightful as well by doing that. And then from there, the people of Redeemer were like, I've got friends and family all over the country that need to hear this. So
Right.
they start spreading it. It starts going all over the place. I get emails from people in other states, other countries, thanking me for it. And so that's what led to it. Was there was a shepherding aspect to it. Is I've got to protect this flock. Churches around here were going woke, and on various issues, whether it was race or whether it's gender with female pastors or both. And so we just had to go, okay, we have to put a line in the sand here and say, you are safe here at Redeemer from all of that nonsense. You can trust the leadership here is not going to change like the other leaders in this area. So all of that went into why I did the sermon series that eventually became the book.
I love it, man. I love it because that whole timeline you just mentioned, like I feel like I had a front seat to it,
Mhm.
and 2020 was when I always tell people that was just thinking's break point, when we did the George Floyd and the gospel episode, that really kind of opened the doors. And you even had my guys in Phoenix, man. I was supposed to be there, man. I hate I missed that trip, man. but that's really cool that the shepherd in you wanted to protect your people first and foremost, and then develop that message. And it kind of reminds me of my trip there when I was telling you guys about with the podcast, just that form of media. You're talking to your people, but the world is listening, and it's a message that the world is listening to. And so the book, I'm so sure, is doing the exact same thing, man. So what has been the feedback so far? Before we hit our quick commercial break, what's been the feedback, and how has it been received so far?
It's been received really well. G3 Press is very happy with how the book has been selling. And the number one feedback I get, I just got it a few days ago. People read the book and they say, it's so helpful for me to put words to what I've been feeling about this whole movement, but didn't have the vocabulary to express. Your book or the sermon series before that, these gave me the vocabulary I needed to explain to people what's wrong with the social justice movement.
Yeah, that's probably the number one thing. We heard it just thinking was, you guys were saying what we were feeling or we were thinking. We just didn't know how to say it, man. So that definitely speaks to just us being a voice during this time, man. So that's super cool. So right here, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back in here with my good friend Jon, man. And Jon, this is the side of the podcast. You actually answered these questions before. It's a 3 signature question I ask all of my guests, and the first signature question is, what kind of music do you listen to?
So it depends. Most of the time when I'm listening to music, it is during sermon prep. So I either listen to very classical music, like classical piano, classical guitar, Phil Glass, Ian Audi, Bach, Christopher Parkening, or I'm listening to electronic. So it's hip hop without words. And so it's beats, it's sounds, and I'm blanking on the group that I love the best, that I like the best in that genre. But so when I'm listening to music, I'm listening to that most of the time. But other than that, except for country music, I have a very eclectic taste in music. I can't stand country music, which is a total bummer for my wife, but it is what it is.
I got you. See, I can tolerate country. What I can't get with is folk. Like, I can't do the folk music. I'm not able to get that realm, man. So I get that. All right, next signature bar question is, what book or books are you currently reading?
So I'm reading Eric Metaxas' book, Letter to the American Church. It is astounding to learn how much like the German church in the 1930s, the American church in the 2020s is similar to, and it's frightening. If the church doesn't stand up and start fighting in these cultural battles, these things that people call politics, in order to shut us up, if Christians will not start fighting in this arena, especially pastors leading people, we're in trouble. We're in serious trouble, and that's not fear mongering. We've already seen it in history. We've seen it with Marxism. We've seen it with National Socialism, which is what Nazism was. And we've seen it with fascism already. When people refuse to fight, they take over. And right now, that's where we're at. Most of the church is silent, and Eric Metaxas is bringing it out. And it's frightening and it's sobering. Everybody should read that book, every Christian at least.
Awesome. All right, my friend. Last signature bar question is, what podcasts or sermons do you listen to, if any?
Yeah, I listen to John MacArthur. And so what I'm doing is reading a lot of sermons. So I read Adrian Rogers, I read John MacArthur, I read even Greg Laurie, John Piper, Charles Spurgeon. These are all sermon packets that I have in my Logos. And so I read a ton of that. Listen to Just Thinking, absolutely. Listen to the B.A.R. I've also listened to a number of different sermons like Alistair Begg and others. I want to be a better preacher. And so that's mostly what I listen to.
I love it, man. I love it. Good choice on those just thinking in bar for sure. Good taste.
Absolutely.
Good deal, man. Well, listen, my friend, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I'm gonna give you the floor to let people know where they can find your book, and then any kind of way they can contact you or follow you, and then any words of encouragement you want to leave with the folks. I'm gonna give you the space to do that right here.
Well, thanks a lot, brother. It's great to be with you again. I look forward to being in the same place, giving you a
Yes,
big
sir.
hug and catching up and maybe having another hamburger
There
with
you go.
but people can find the book at g3min.org/stand. So g3min.org/stand. They can find the electronic version on Amazon. What I tell people is it's cheaper to buy the physical book at G3 than to buy it on Amazon, but you can buy it there too. And I think for the Christians out there, and we've got an audio book that's being produced right now. So soon there will be an audio version of Stand.
Nice.
But it's incredibly easy book to read. It's sermons that were turned into a book. It's only 90 pages long. So it's short and it's easy to read. It's like the perfect book. And then at the back of the book, there's a rather large appendix for people if they want to go deeper and they want to begin the process of really studying this subject. I've got books on every subject of the social justice movement in general, as well as in specific categories, and then a bunch of videos where people can go and watch videos on YouTube on these issues as well. So they can get up to speed really fast on this movement if they need to. My encouragement to Christians is to not be afraid. Don't be jelly spined.
Mm-hmm.
We need people with soft hearts but steel spines who are going to love their enemies but still speak the truth. And so this is one of the things that the social justice movement can't manufacture, is that many people leave the movement because they see how unloving and nasty the people are in that movement. And so when Christians come along and we speak the truth in love, not either or, but both and, we stand on the scriptures, we don't cave on that, it makes a difference. It plants seeds that eventually lead to people leaving these movements. I have footnotes in the book that talk about this. And so I think that Christians need to be praying on a regular basis. God, give me the courage to stand for the truth and wherever you put me today. It is something where I think Christians, we like to go along and to get along. I talked about it at church a couple 2 weeks ago, that we have what I heard one author call the disease of non-rockabotus inside of us, where we are afraid to rock the boat.
Right.
We are afraid to cause people to look at us and think bad things about us, and it's just not Christian.
Mm-hmm.
It's wicked to care more about people's opinions about us than about the truth. And so we've got to get over that. We have to fight that in our own lives personally. We have to fight that wherever the Lord finds us, puts us publicly. We've got to fight against that, because our culture, our civilization, our churches, the other organizations we love, nonprofits and whatnot, they're all being attacked by this hydra of the social justice movement. And if we're not going to fight, nobody's going to. And so we've got to stand.
Yes, sir. So good, man. I appreciate that, brother. I love it. I'm sure my listeners will too. Make sure you guys pick up the book and check it out. Let us know, man, if you heard about it here on the podcast, man, and picked it up. Let me know. Shoot me a message, screenshot it, put it in your stories. Let us know about it, man. So appreciate you guys tuning into the B.A.R podcast, your favorite podcast. Tune in every Tuesday. I get a chance to post one. Also, check us out now on YouTube. Just search the B.A.R podcast to check us out on YouTube as well. Until next time, you guys, God bless, and we are out.